With around 286 million vehicles on the road today, it can be hard to believe that less than 150 years ago, motor power travel was non-existent. While not the first inventor to create a patent centered on gas-powered vehicles, Henry Ford certainly helped lay the foundation for the automobile industry, as well as shaping how most industries work through his philosophies and ideas. According to his own autobiography, Ford had always thought that there was too much work occurring and looked for ways to reduce this work. This originally motivated him to create the car, as he wanted to lighten the amount of work that farmers had to do to get their goods from the farms to the markets. Similarly, he invented the assembly line to limit the amount of movement the workers had to do. Without Henry Ford's ideas and inventions, the consumerism we experience today would not be possible. Even if you drive a Honda Civic, he still has impacted your life from the way you work to the products you use. With most companies using the 40-hour workweek and almost all manufacturers using some version of Ford's assembly line, his impact on the world today is enormous. From suburbs to subways, if you're looking for it, Henry Ford's influence can be found anywhere. Based on my research, Henry Ford successfully established the automobile industry and created a company that still, according to Investopedia, is one of the top 5 biggest car companies today. He did this through the invention of the Model T, the assembly line, and the Ford labor philosophy. The invention of the Model T is what launched Henry Ford's business into success. While not his first model of car, according to the editors of Henry Ford Company's website, the Model T was the first vehicle he was able to mass produce. From its first production in 1908 to its last in 1922, 15 million copies were sold. It became so popular that Henry Ford once said himself, "There's no use in trying to pass Ford because there's another one just ahead." With a price point that started at $850 and eventually fell to $300, according to Society editors, it created the perfect option for the middle class. For example, the Fiat 1 that was also released in 1908 cost $4,000 and only sold 1,600 models, meanwhile Ford's Model T sold over 6,000. This low cost was due to his ability to mass-produce cars. In order to create maximum efficiency that he so desired, he created the Ford assembly line. The assembly line brought materials to the workers and stopped time from being wasted by the workers moving around. It also allowed workers to specialize in one task and become very good at said task. The reason behind this was Ford always wanted to look for ways to improve efficiency so he could lower costs for the consumer. Ford says in his book, My Life and Work, that if a device would save just 10% or increase results 10%, then its absence is always a 10% tax. Basically, any inefficiency in his work was an error that needed to be corrected. This maximized output so that production costs could be lowered, which makes consumer costs lower. According to History Cooperative editors, Ford lowered the cost to fulfill his dream of making Ford cars a household item. The lower the price, the more people that could buy it, eventually leading to the car taking over the American highways. Because of the addition of the assembly line, skilled workers became bored with Ford's jobs and left to go to other companies. To lure them back, Ford implemented his second big revolutionary idea, the 8-hour workday. By decreasing the average shift by an hour, Ford could have 3 8-hour shifts, keeping factories always running Monday through Friday. This extra hour allowed employees to also spend more time with their family or pursue other interests. This combined with him taking down the work week from 6 days to 5, according to History Channel editors, was because he believed that it would improve overall production and loyalty to the company. Ford also set a new wage standard from the time, raising the wages to $5 a day. This brought some of the best and most talented mechanics and engineers to Ford Motor Company, increasing the quality and quantity of any cars made. This wasn't only for his own profit, however. He wanted to share some of his wealth with the workers who had brought him such prosperity, saying, "We believe in making 25,000 men prosperous and content rather than following the plan of making a few slave drivers in our establishment multimillionaires." Overall, through his inventions and business-minded practices, Henry Ford made one of the largest car companies of the 20th century. His 2 philosophies of the assembly line and the 40-hour workweek are still implemented in our world today, and the Model T will go down as one of the most influential cars in all time, as it took up more than 40% of the cars on the road in 1917, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. Despite his constant pouring of resources back into his business, Ford's net worth at the time of his death was around $188 billion in today's worth, which made him the 4th richest man in the world. He's a great example of the American promise, as if a farm boy from Michigan can become such great and influential in today's society, then why can't we?